In the second part of the 68th episode of SKIBIDI Toilet, more Easter eggs gathered than in all the other parts combined. So today we're diving into the analysis of this episode. Who is the real traitor in the Alliance? What will happen in the next episode? And what are Jesse and Walter from the Breaking Bad TV series doing here? In this video, I'll tell you all about it and show you the Easter eggs. The second part is a continuation of the previous one, and now we're looking at the large TV screen, which shows us what's really happening in the SKIBIDI base. The episode starts with the same shots as the 14th episode of SKIBIDI Multiverse from Dom Studio, where Speakerman stands and beats the toilet with a bat, while the second one looks at it and cleans his knife with light movements. And I won't say what it looks like, or what I think is hanging in front of him. Maybe a portrait of TV Woman, or since they're in the SKIBIDI laboratory, a photo of SKIBIDI Toilet Woman. Also, glasses are worn on this toilet. Apparently, it's one of the SKIBIDI scientists. After the camera turns to the left, we can notice several interesting things, namely, a lying SKIBIDI toilet, over which hangs one of the first Easter eggs in this episode. A poster with the SKIBIDI toilet logo, on which there is an inscription that, in my assumptions, tells us about the location of this base. It says Atlantic, which means that this base is located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and possibly exists there in reality. Who among you dares to check? Further to the left are the large cameraman and the black speakerman with his usual brave walk. After killing one of the mini-scientist toilets, the camera turns to the left, and we see another interesting murder with a stun gun of a scientist with cute paws, watched by this cameraman in a brown shirt and blue jeans, about whom, believe me, we'll talk a lot in this analysis. The Alliance moves toward the door, and now two facts are confirmed. First, all actions are now taking place from the perspective of Plunger Cameraman, who retrieves his weapon from the toilet. In the fourth part of the 67th episode, we watched from the perspective of this large cameraman, and here is the evidence: a black jacket, a blue shirt, and this gun. Plunger Cameraman goes ahead, and here comes the second Easter egg from the author, but unfortunately, I can't read anything because the inscription is blurred. Next, in front of us, we see the SKIBIDI logo in a larger size, and for some reason, with black dirt under it. Elite Cameraman suggested that it's blood, but I think it's just glue needed to stick the emblem. Next, with the help of some hacking device, the cameraman in blue jeans opens the door. And here I have a question for him. Why didn't he give this device to his partner when he asked for it? After all, in the end, this partner changed his mind about taking the device and simply gave a thumbs up. And this cameraman suspiciously looked at his partners. We'll get back to him later. After opening the doors, we see some SKIBIDI scientist toilets, one of whom has a phone in his hands. Perhaps he was watching some kind of suspicious videos of TV Woman, because look at his face, which is quickly covered by the plunger and flushed. After killing all three Alliance enemies, Cameraman moves forward, and the cameraman in blue jeans hacks the elevator on the left and invites everyone in. It's clear that there are some issues between him and Plungerman. The second probably asks him to give him the device, to which the cameraman in blue jeans hides it. And when I watched this episode, I thought that a fight would start between them now, and it would have happened if not for what happened on the right. On the right, we see a cargo lift that distracts the Alliance, and the large cameraman is already preparing to fight. Before moving on, I want to draw your attention to this board. Specifically, I won't dissect it, but soon you'll see other boards with interesting information. After POV Plungerman looks around the corner, he sees the real SKIBIDI toilet factory, and Dafukboom shows it to us for the first time. SKIBIDI worker, who produces toilets, flies to the right, and we see a whole conveyor of identical grey toilets. Our main hero goes a bit further and already sees the process of adding abilities to the toilets. In this case, they add poisonous weapons and rockets. Large Cameraman suggests that POV Plungerman go and destroy them all, and also see how the toilets are really made. But he refuses. Like, if you also want to see how toilets are made, because now we see the final stage of their production. I wonder what was before. How were heads embedded in toilets? After that, the hero's camera almost has a text written on it. Transmission error and recording error, and the screen turns green. This means that Dafukboom is somewhere nearby. He shows the place where the main control of the conveyor is, where two SKIBIDI toilets sit, and to the right of them, there is a green light, which is exactly where the secret agent is. While the error was in the camera, Plunger Cameraman turns his head and looks at each of his allies. Perhaps the secret agent is controlling them this way and wants to check who in the alliance is standing there. And returning to the leak on Dafuk's Instagram, where he wrote that not everyone is on your side, we can notice that Black Speakerman put his hand on the cameraman in blue jeans, which may indicate that they are all traitors, because soon you will find out why. The alarm goes off, and the camera focuses its lens on the main actors of Breaking Bad, Jesse Pinkman and Walter White. I think we've just uncovered the secret of who came up with all these toilets in this universe. After all, what else could they be doing there? I believe they are the masterminds behind toilet production, overseeing the entire process and coming up with new upgrades, and so on. Now it makes sense why the scientist's SKIBIDI toilet looks so much like water. As the alarm sounds, all the SKIBIDI toilets in production turn towards us, and the chief engineer appears before us. Our favorite large cameraman takes a shot and hits the target precisely, deterring the enemies. The most interesting part begins as the camera turns to the right, revealing more Easter eggs. Meanwhile, the cameraman lowers the door, so let's examine this board. Against a white background, we see some drawings, documents, and texts. In this picture, I notice an aerodrome that might appear in future episodes, and below, I see a military unit in the desert. On the left, there's also an overhead photograph, and I'm not sure what it could be, but did you notice that triangle? The most intriguing part, we see the text Jesus Boy WTQ, and if we insert it after youtube.com/watchquestion, mark V =, we'll see an episode with Godzilla made by Dafuk. On December 4th, a video titled SKIBIDI Toilet 68 Part 3 Secret Episode was released on IuliTMX's channel, and this episode was at the end. I'll leave a link below to Dafuk's video, and I recommend checking out this channel, as history may repeat itself. Returning to the episode, the doors close and the Alliance escapes, but the large cameraman stops to kill the SKIBIDI toilet engineer and succeeds. The Alliance heads towards the elevator, and we can see that the door is already closed. On the right side, a green light is on, indicating that the door is open, as all the other doors on the left side are red, meaning they are closed. From where the green light is, a very creepy SKIBIDI toilet appears, probably some kind of boss in this workshop. He moves very quickly, and with his yellow beams, similar to G-Man from the previous episode, kills the poor large cameraman with a malicious grin, knowing he'll be killed if he doesn't escape. Meanwhile, the lift descends, and the entire Alliance is in it. The camera focuses on the obvious traitors today, because remember, the cameraman in blue jeans wanted the Alliance to go straight into the elevator, and if they had done that, they would likely have walked into an ambush from below. And why do I consider Black Speakerman a traitor? Because he's not helping. When we stood near the conveyor, he did nothing, and when damage occurred to the large cameraman in the elevator, he did nothing. It's all clear. Meanwhile, the large cameraman dies, and let's press F for this hero. He survived and showed us a lot. He hands over his lens plunger to the cameraman and waves goodbye. By the way, notice this hat. Whose is it? The episode ends with POV plunger cameraman and the Alliance descending to the lower floor, where the continuation will happen in the next episode.